Hello and welcome to another Women and Girls segment for the Burko Show. Today we've got Trevor Griffin with me, who is the head coach for Sunrisers and also the women's branch of London Spirit for the 100 later on in the season. Trevor, how are you?
Yeah, very well. Thank you, Carly. Thanks very much for having me along this evening.
Good. Thanks a lot for being here. So let's jump right in. Just talking about the kind of the domestic side of the game and your Sunrisers role. For you as a coach, how's it been to have these full-time domestic contracts in place, and how does kind of pre-season compare this season to what it was last season without those?
Yeah, let's start with the professionalising side of things, I guess. It's something that I know the ECB have been passionate about and been working hard to formalise over a number of years. You know, we saw the beginnings of that with the Kia Super League that started in 2016, I think that was. And I think that was really the start and the foundations of where we are today. And to have now a bigger talent pool from an England perspective, where we've got, instead of just the England players being professional cricketers that are training a number of days a week and being paid to do that, we've got a much wider pool of players. And that's incredibly exciting. And to have a number of players that you are working with regularly from a coaching perspective, I think we're already seeing the benefits of that with the quality of the cricket that was played last September across the 8 teams, and from a perspective of now where they've gone through a winter training side of things, the skill level has just developed no end, and I think we're now seeing the benefit of that, and that's only going to create more competition for places within the England pathway. So that can only be a good thing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
You said about the winter training. I've gone from being in environments where you have contact time of 2 hours a week, if you're lucky, over the course of February and March, to having anywhere between 12 and 20 hours contact a week with a number of players. So as you can imagine, the quality of skill level has improved. Their fitness levels have made a massive shift, and they've been exposed to new things, and the girls are loving it, and we're certainly seeing the benefit of that.
Yeah, it's a really exciting time for women's cricket in England.
We are growing our academy. We're seeing how we can interact the senior players with the academy players, whether that's internal fixtures or training days. Or practice games, and that then gives these younger players something to aspire to. They see these players, training regularly, playing on first-class cricket pitches and facilities, and that gives them something to aspire to. And again, that drives them on. I think where our next stage is, whilst we continue to evolve and develop, is also helping grow and develop the county structure and the club structure, so that we see that continued pathway all the way through. And there's a real opportunity now for female cricketers within our game to see cricket as a genuine career choice. Whereas up until now, that has only been the case if you've been an England cricketer. But now there's a genuine case for people to be able to say, no, I want to be a professional cricketer, and we can support that. At the moment, with five professional contracts, but hopefully that will grow over the coming years.
Yeah, and for someone like yourself who's obviously been around the game for many years, how exciting is that for you to be able to sit there and say that now that it is a genuine career path for women and girls, kind of younger girls growing up and looking towards that, which less than for sort of 5 years ago wasn't the case.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been involved in women and girls cricket now for best part of 11 years. And just to see where we've come from is very inspiring. And I think it just shows the commitment that we see from the ECB and Claire Connor, the way she's driven that forward. And I'm very fortunate. I've worked in New Zealand, I've worked in Australia, and I see how these countries go about their delivery of women and girls cricket. And I don't think we should be surprised with how dominant Australia have been with the processes and structures that they've got in place. So Australia, are certainly ahead of us because they've had their process and their pathways in place for a bit longer than us. So I think where we're going is certainly in the right direction, and I'm incredibly excited to be a part of that, and to have these conversations with players about earning a genuine salary and a living from it is a fantastic opportunity to be able to do that.
And I was going to touch on kind of obviously the work that you've done overseas, yes, specifically Australia. Is there any kind of inspiration that we can take, as a country from what they're doing in Australia and with their domestic contracts?
Yeah, you mean, are we going to get the Ashes back? I have no, I have no doubt that having worked with a number of England players and the things that Lisa's brought into England, I'm sure that will naturally make them more competitive, from an Ashes perspective, and they're hungry for that. But longer term, to have that conveyor belt of players coming through that are playing very meaningful competitive cricket. In the past, we've probably encouraged some of the better players to go and play men's cricket because it's tougher and more challenging. And I think we're now in a genuine place where we don't have to do that. The quality of the cricket that we're seeing, the openness of the ECB to have England players come back and play in our domestic programme, that's great to see. That's one thing that Australia do really well. Whatever cricket is on that day, their players are available. So if there's international cricket, that's what they play. If there's no international cricket, they go and play regional cricket. If there's no regional cricket, then they go and play club cricket. So there's always cricket available. And then you've got your best players in that country playing at whatever level is available. And that's inspiring the next cricketer. That's helping the next generation of cricketers, because you just learn so much from being around them. And we're starting to see that as well. Our girls, we had Fran Wilson and Maddie Villiers with us at Sunrisers. And our players at Sunrisers are learning a huge amount from them when they're around us. So that's a positive impact. They then take that back to their counties and they're passing on what they're learning into the county environment. And then hopefully, that continue to filter down into the club side of things as well. So we're certainly moving in the right direction. And that's what I see over in Australia. And that's probably the biggest difference that I would say between us and them at the moment, is that they've had this in place for a few years. We're seeing more young women and girls and boys coming in and watching cricket. And it was interesting being involved in the Kia Super League and seeing how that grew from a fan base perspective. And it's similar with the Women's Big Bash. There's more families that attend women's cricket. And you actually also have boys that say they love watching women's cricket because they can see the ball. Whilst you get all the razzmatazz and enjoyment and the ball bowled fast and hit harder within the men's game, they actually just can't track the ball and they can't relate to it. When they come in to see the women's game, yes, our pace isn't as quick, so they're therefore to track the ball and they can relate to it a lot more to their game.
And what would you say to kind of any traditionalists out there, the traditional fans that like you say might be a little bit skeptical about it? What would your message be to them?
I think it's the same message that I have when people are skeptical about women's cricket, is that they've probably not seen it, is actually go along and watch it and you'd be pleasantly surprised. And I can remember when I was involved in the Kia Super League with Western Storm, we had this practice game against Gloucestershire boys, and we played at an outground, a club ground. These older gentlemen turned up to sit in the pavilion, thinking it was a local boys game, and then they suddenly realised that it was Gloucestershire boys under 14s versus Western Storm, a women's team, and I could hear them sitting in front of me saying, "Oh, this is a women's team, or this isn't going to be very good. How do they expect to compete against the men's team?" So it was interesting just to watch how the game unfolded. In the first couple of overs, this young boy just hit our bowling all over the place for some sixes, which they were commenting on. So it come round to our innings, and our opening bat went out, and I think it might have been the third game of the ball, just dispatched this ball over the fence for 6 runs. And all of a sudden that changed their opinion, and they got really enthused by it, and they stayed on and watched the second game because we played 2, and they made some comments to me afterwards about having never seen women's cricket and how surprised they were in terms of the standard and the quality of cricket that was being played, and that just then opened their eyes, and they said they would certainly be along to watch Western Storm play games in the future.
That's brilliant. That's such a good story. If ever there was a reason for someone to go out and watch that, that's the one.
Yeah, absolutely. You can go along to a men's game. You've seen it in the county championships recently, where teams are being bowled out for less than 100. It happens in cricket. That's the beauty of cricket, isn't it? You can score 100 one day as a batter and be out for a first ball the next game. It's a real leveler.
Yeah.
But I genuinely believe that, within our game, the quality of cricket that's being played is just getting better and better and better. So now it's just about taking what they've done indoors to the cricket pitch, really. And we saw that this weekend. So county cricket started with T20s. All of the Sunrisers players are available for their respective counties. We saw Grace Scrivens. She's 17 now, scored 94, opening the batting in a T20 for Kent. Naomi Datani and Cordelia Griffiths put on 116, 17, something like that for the first wicket for Middlesex, both scoring half centuries. So what we're seeing in the winter is starting to transfer onto the pitch.
It's all looking good then.
Yeah.
Ready to start.
Yeah. So we start our first game end of May.
29th, I think. Yeah.
Days just merge. So yeah, that sounds about right. 29th of May is our first game. So we've got a couple of warm-up games left. One against the Vipers next week, so that'll be a good benchmark to see how we've improved over the winter and where we are ready for the Hey Ho Flint Trophy starting. And then we'll have a couple of weeks just to iron out anything we need to iron out, make sure we're really clear about how we're going to go out and perform. And the biggest message I give to the players is it's almost like giving them permission. You're in this team because you have certain skills. I don't want you to be anything other than that person. So long as they're playing their game, then encourage them to go and do that. And that's certainly the message that I give to all of my players is go and have fun and play their game, because that's what's got them into this side.
Oh, that's brilliant. It's really good to hear as well. I think that's pretty much everything. We'll just finish off with one that I've been asking all my guests. If you have any advice to give to a young girl wanting to get into cricket, what would it be?
That's a great question, and I've been asked it a number of times. And it's really easy just to say, go and give it a go. But I think there's more opportunities now. You've got chance to shine working in schools. If that's giving you a taste of cricket, then all of these people that are going in, all these coaches that are going into schools will be linked to clubs. So, tell your mum and dad, speak to them about how much you're enjoying it and find out which clubs they're linked to. There are most clubs run taster sessions. There is the various deliveries that clubs do, I think, that range from like under eights upwards. And there's different cricket for everybody, from softball through to hardball. The biggest thing, just go and have some fun, because that's why we play games and play sport, is to have fun. And for those that are slightly older that want to get into cricket, a lot of clubs do something called wine and wickets. So for those that are over the age and can have a glass of something afterwards, that's a brilliant way to get into it. Is go and have some fun and share a glass of Prosecco or whatever it is after the game. And and then there's coaches around that will just embrace that and help you get better. And who knows, somebody there could be pulling on a Sunrisers shirt in the future.
Let's hope so. Right, that's brilliant. Yeah, thanks a lot for coming on, Trevor. It's great to chat to you, and good luck for the season.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. Speak to you soon.
Cheers. Bye.